Today's show, Harold's going to tell you how to hurt people's feelings, Bill's going downhill skiing, and I'll show you how to make a complete wall out of studs.
A poet once wrote, "A man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for?" Well, here's a man from the farthest reaches of the north on his last grasp. My uncle, your host, Red Green.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Harold, for that little bit of literature. Reminded me of why I hated school.
No problemo. Here's a little poetry in motion for you.
Been kind of a good news, bad news week up here at Possum Lodge. Now, for me, it's been good news, not bad news, but for some of the others, it's been bad news, not good news.
Excuse me, Uncle Red. You want to get on with it before it's old news?
All right, first the good news. Harold, you're laid off.
What? Don't. That's not fair.
And now the bad news. He's not going to go quietly.
Oh. Okay, I'm sorry about you broking your radio.
What? What's wrong with my radio?
Nothing. Why? Who said anything about your radio? What?
Well, actually, I'm not laying Harold off for any of his incompetence here. It has to do with finances. That's all. We're a little short of money, and we're just going to make some cutbacks. That's all there is to it.
Oh, okay, well, if that's what it is, there's a local TV show, Uncle Red, and it's like a funniest home videos, right? And what they do is they show, funny home videos, right? So, and if you win, first prize is $1,000. Right? Just think of all the funny things that happen right here in the lodge, day in, day out. We could,
Like what things?
Like what? Okay, all right. How about the time that you parked the van too close to the septic tank and then you stepped out and or there was the time Junior Singleton, right? He borrowed Uncle Red's brand new radial armband saw, and he gets it, right? But his fender gets caught in there, and it just blew out the motor, and it was. But that's not funny. That's the thing. Really, there's so many other to choose from. Like, oh, okay, you want it? This is the one. Okay. Uncle Red, Phil, on the roof. They're fixing the antenna. A storm comes. Probably a bad example, actually. But how about something where someone else gets hurt? Like me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that was a good one.
You like that? Okay, all right, well, we can make money on that. Yes, we can make money on that, Uncle Red, yeah. Because I could get the lodge video camera, and I could just shoot all the funny, humorous things that happen around here. We'll win first prize, $1,000. We'll be solvent again. And I can keep my job,
Well, other than you keeping your job, I really like the sound of it. Mind you, at some point, probably the whole thing's going to blow up in my face.
Well, that's excellent. I could film that, too.
I spied a young lady walking down the street, a pretty young thing that I chanced to meet. She wiggled her hips and batted her eyes. Can you begin to imagine my surprise when it turned out it came to my attention? It occurred to me she wasn't young or pretty. She was a middle-aged guy in show business. This week on Handyman Corner, we're going to show you how to build a framing wall, which is the first step in turning that dark, danky, stinky, musty swamp of a cellar of yours into a bright, warm, modern, friendly, spacious family room where the kids can go and do stuff they don't want you to know about. Or you could put, say, a decorator wall in upstairs, or perhaps you and your spouse are going through one of those low points in a marriage where just a partition in the bedroom would keep you legally living together without creating out-and-out warfare. So the first thing you're going to need to do this is a few of the 2x4s and some of the 3.5-inch males. Get the sharp ones. And one of these babies right here, a power hammer. What's a power hammer, you're asking? Well, a power hammer is basically a gun that fires nails. You gotta love a tool that uses gunpowder, don't you? All right, let's start by cutting up the 2x4s. I love the smell of fresh pine. You want to make sure you get them all to the same length. And here we go. Ah, for crying out loud. There we go. And cut it. And there we go. Boy, that smells good, doesn't it, huh? Now, golly, maybe I should have measured those first, you know. Why did I cut those again? All right, let's start again. Okay, this time, even up the ends, because you want them all to be exactly the same length. That's the whole point of I guess they were the same length. Oh, well, we'll just build a shorter wall now. That's okay, because the walls in the basement are real short anyway. Okay, now these are your uprights, or at least they will be when they're upright. And you cut these so that they're exactly the same height as your ceiling, minus 3 inches. Okay, just like Harold's career, we're going to start at the bottom. The only difference being we're going somewhere. Okay, this here is what I call the footer. Actually, it's a 3-footer. And we're going to anchor this to the floor using the power hammer. You know, actually, these units use the same cartridge as a .22 caliber rifle. You could go hunting with one of these power hammers. You know, you could get yourself a deer and tack his hide to the tree all in the one go. All right, that'll be enough. And you pop these in the back here. And then you just put her in place, push her down, and let her go. Did I mention ear protection at all? You really want to use ear protection with this. Ear protection's pretty well a must. So this is going to take a while, so why don't you go back to the show? I'll keep building, and we'll come back when I'm all done. Somebody want to get that phone?
It's that time once again where we expose those 3 little words that men have such difficulty saying. I don't know. And here to prove that point is my Uncle Red and his best friend in the whole wide world. Okay, Mr. Dougie Franklin. Dear experts, I consider myself to be an above-average driver. However, the judge who took my license away suggested I may not be as good as I think I am. Exactly how do you tell if you're a bad driver or not?
Well, Dougie, this sounds like it'd be right dead center of your area expertise.
No kidding, Red. I mean, you want to know something about bad drivers? I am your man. I must run into 1 or 2 of those suckers head on once a month. Yeah, but listen, let's start in the very, very beginning where the problem lies. I blame it on your driver education system.
I'm with you there, Doug. I agree 100%.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, a kid spends 4 years in school learning how to control a pencil, which has no moving parts, goes about 1 mile an hour, and is not known to burst into flames when she rolls. You know? What I'm saying here is we're not teaching our kids right. And how can we? You know, I mean, these teachers are talking theory. You want to know how to do something? Go to somebody who's been there. Go to hell and back and tell the story. Like my family. We have had every type of accident imaginable. We have had your head on, your rear ender, your side swipe, your rollover with a convertible, you name it. We have done them all. We should be teaching the kids. You put me, my brother, and my daddy in front of a classroom, and I guarantee you, you will bring down the number of bad drivers on the road.
Yeah, by 3. What you got to do is attach this part of the wall to the footer by nailing nails up through from underneath. All right, if you're doing this, I would suggest that you nail this part onto the footer before you attach it to the floor. That's an excellent tip. Anyway, you get the idea. So until next time, remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. You know what I could do with this is just go down the basement and just keep firing nails till I hit the wall. Sorry, Harold. We're still working on these funniest home videos, so I thought I'd go see Ranger Gord. You know, Gord, I was thinking you're up here and you'll be able to see, 40 miles in every direction. I guess you must see a lot of funny things happen, do you?
Oh, yeah. My life is non-stop comedy and fun. Oh. You see a lot of funny things over the course of 6,000 days.
Yeah, well, if we can get some of those funny things on tape, we can win a prize on a television show.
Really? What show? Real people?
I don't believe that one's on anymore. This is, I believe it's called a funny home video or something like that.
You know what a great show is? Vegas.
Remember that one?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's still on. Dan Tannen, his sexy old vintage T-Bird, and his real sexy assistant, Beatrice.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, Gord, what kind of funny things do you see the tourists doing up here?
Tourists?
Yeah.
Tourists, no. Tourists don't come this far north. But once there were these 2 pine trees growing right out there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the two trees are growing.
Yeah.
And one tree starts to grow a little faster than the other one.
Oh, for goodness sake.
And so it's taller.
Yeah,
But one night, there's a windstorm. And it blows the top branches off the tall tree.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the tall tree is actually shorter. Can you imagine how the tall tree felt being shorter?
Gord, that may not play all that well on television. Well, this idea of raising money with a funny home video has turned into kind of a good news, bad news thing. The good news is we're getting lots of suggestions from the guys. The bad news is none of them are any good. Like Buster Hadfield claims he gets big laughs at his family functions by putting underwear on his head. Should give you an idea of how his family functions. How are we doing on the technical end there, Harold?